All right, everyone. Bang, bang. Lunch money time. While Wall Street's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. I'm here with the beautiful and intelligent Polina Marinova. Evo is not with us today. He's still alive, but he's not here with us. Don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi. They've got 3 products: buy and sell crypto. You deposit crypto, you can get a US dollar loan. Or my favorite product as an investor and a user is that you can earn up to 8.6% APY on their interest-bearing account. It's basically like if you're going to sit in a digital currency, why not earn some interest on part of it? Do your own research. Go check them out. BlockFi.com/lunchmoney. I should be a professional ad reader. I feel like I'm a good ad reader. Go
Can I
ahead.
just can I just say that Evo was shocked by all the comments, the kind comments and the views, and he was like, "Oh my God, are they making fun of me?" I was like, "No, they're just being nice."
Tell Evo he can come on whenever he wants. He actually could replace you as the co-host anytime he wants.
I'm
What's up? What's with the first
wrong.
topic?
Okay,
By the way, hold on. Stop. Time out. Why does it look like you're sitting in a college dorm?
I'm gonna be cropped, so you're not gonna be able to see any of that. So let's move on.
It looks like you're in a college dorm. You also have
Joe
a
cropped
soccer.
me.
Hey, do we have matching shirts on? I have a Nike shirt
Oh
on.
my God! Look
Oh,
at that!
cool. Mine's
Look at
more
that!
athletic than yours. Okay, let's go. What's the
Uh,
first topic?
I know you miss me so much, but like you don't have to start dressing like me. Okay.
You
It
technically are dressing like me, but all right.
no, I'm not.
Go
You're not
ahead.
wearing a black T-shirt. People are gonna comment. Add a dress code. Okay.
Go.
It has been a rough quarter for the US economy, with the country plunging into a pandemic fueled recession. Yet, the stock market is alive and kicking. In fact, it's having the best quarter in more than 20 years. How is that possible?
Because the Federal Reserve, we've talked about it a million times on here. There's a dislocation between the economic reality and the stock market. The stock market is being pumped to the moon by the liquidity of $3+ trillion being injected into markets. The Federal Reserve is now one of the largest holders of treasury bonds, some corporate debt. I wouldn't be surprised if they start buying stocks at some point. They
Okay,
have lost their minds.
but is this ever gonna like collapse?
Oh, Miss Polina, welcome to the rabbit hole. That is the quadrillion-dollar question at this
I
point.
think it's gonna collapse.
Well, the big question is, can they continue to pump asset prices while economic data gets worse? Here's what I think is actually the most interesting scenario that's being set up is we're seeing coronavirus cases explode across many states. We're now seeing bars and restaurants that were open get reclosed by governments. And so there is a scenario where we actually have more economic pain ahead of us than behind us. And if that occurs, the Federal Reserve will have to print more and more money to try to continue to inflate asset prices. That I don't know if they can do it. Nobody knows. We've never seen this before. And so that is the question. Can they continue to pump asset prices regardless of how bad the economy gets? We'll see, but it's an election year. And you know what they say? They're going to try to keep that economy appearing to be as strong as possible because people like when they can make money, they tend to vote for the incumbent.
Okay, but how long can they do this for? Because
Well, technically, they can print as much money as they want.
oh wow.
But the question is, what's the impact of doing that? Right? Is there short-term inflation? Is there long-term inflation? Is there a collapse of the dollar? All that stuff's pretty extreme ramifications. But even more so is if you start to change the risk reward mechanism in a market, there's big problems. Also, if you start to basically just pay people money to stay out of their jobs because they can't go back to work because you shut down their companies, you're basically doing a UBI, right? And so it's just this really weird situation, but ultimately it just comes down to the Federal Reserve has stepped in. And by the way, I will say, I've never said this on the show before. Federal Reserve's job is to manage an economy and try to keep people employed. The actions they've taken have pretty much done that in the short term. There's horrible medium to long-term impact, but what they've done is kind of been effective in the short term. It's just, should they optimize for something else? I personally think they should, but for what they're trying to optimize for, they've actually been pretty successful.
People are out of jobs, and my question is, okay, once the pandemic's completely over, how many of those jobs are going to return?
Yes, so people are definitely out of jobs, but more people would be out of jobs if the Federal Reserve didn't act, right? If they didn't do the PPP loans, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then your question about how many jobs are coming back, I don't know, but I don't think it's, I keep going back to 20% of small businesses aren't going to make it through this. If 20% of small businesses don't make it through, that means 10% of jobs in America will be lost. And that means that we will have a 10% or more unemployment rate for quite a while. Really, really sad. And, that's just the reality that we're facing right now. So we'll have to see.
Sorry, I'm kind of distracted. I have you here, an article here, a video of Mark Zuckerberg playing here. It's a lot. Okay, ready?
I'm obviously drawing all of your attention though, right?
No, because I'm actually looking at the camera. But yes, Facebook frustrates advertisers as the boycott over hate speech kicks off. So, okay, you worked at Facebook. Can you explain to us what is going on with these advertisers? More than 400 brands, including Coca-Cola and Starbucks, are going to vanish from Facebook on Wednesday, which is today, after the failure of last-ditch talks to stop a boycott over hate speech on the site.
Look, you can call it, this is classic mainstream media propaganda. How about this narrative? Corporations disagree with free speech and decide not to advertise on platform that encourages free speech.
Okay,
fact.
so
That's
what?
a fact. But the media doesn't want to cover it that way.
But they're calling it hate speech.
Oh, again, it is content that they disagree with. By the way, I don't necessarily agree with the content either. But if you go ask any soldier or anybody who understands and has literally spent time fighting for the freedoms of America and has seen what happens in other places, freedom of speech is most important when you disagree with the ideas of somebody else. And so that's what ultimately this ends up coming down to, is they don't like what's being said, but the people saying it have the constitutional right to say it.
To play devil's advocate, I worked at Fortune. I'm aware of some of these Fortune 500 corporations who the last thing they want to do is get caught in the middle of some sort of political, controversial situation. So I think that they're just like, we're pulling out, whatever. Like, we do not want to be in the middle of this. They're very, very not risk averse.
But they are in the middle of it if they pull out. That's the thing, is they're
right.
All of these brands that are deciding not to advertise, their name is not associated in any form or fashion with any of this until they decide to do this. And so what they're doing is they're taking a political stand. That's ultimately what they're doing. And again, I don't agree with most of the speech that is in question, but I do believe that it is important for platforms to remain neutral. Because here, again, I continue to say this over and over again. If we apply the same standards that we want to apply to our politicians, to our mainstream media, you will take down multiple articles a day from the New York Times, Washington Post.
None of mine.
But my point is that people don't want the standards applied equally. What they want is they want to use the standards that they are so-called creating to be applied to people they disagree with. So if, for example, inciting violence, if you go to the New York Times right now or Washington Post and you look at some of the coverage, you could make a very strong argument that it's inciting violence. It is creating divisiveness in our country. So why are we only going to apply it to some people, whether they're politicians, athletes, whatever? Again, the answer has to be the platforms can't be put in that situation.
I just cannot understand why we live in such a horribly divisive time where, it feels hard to have conversations with people sometimes. And I don't think that it used to be like that. I feel like people had different political opinions, etc., and they were able to kind of live. Now it's like people can,
listen, in my opinion, all of these platforms, they're just a mirror of ourselves. And we're getting to see humanity. And we don't like it. But again, the second that you start forcing a private company to be the arbiter of truth is a bad thing. And don't forget, the most important part of all of this is that the media is attacking a competitor. They don't like to say this, but they are attacking a competitor. Facebook and the New York Times are competitors. Twitter and Washington Post are competitors. And so now we have the media. No, absolutely. absolute competitors. And now we have media companies attacking their competitors and virtue signaling onto them.
No,
Dangerous world.
they are not competitors, because a lot of times these media companies are reliant on the tech companies for distribution, to pay them money for licensing content. So it's not entirely clean.
Again, they are competitors in the arena for time, attention, and clicks. And now all of a sudden, you have people who are attacking from one side of that competition, the other ones. And so ultimately, what I just think the solution is super easy. The platforms are platforms. It's just like the telephone company. If the telephone company says, I don't listen to the calls, I'm not going to not connect you based on what you're talking about. The platforms have to be forced to do the same thing, which includes, by the way, that means that you've got to let them just allow all of the content. And then as an individual, we can do it. But what we're seeing is things where they're literally YouTube stars who are getting demonetized for things they did 10 years ago.
Okay, hold on. But don't you think that if you just allow the platforms to be platforms, something dangerous could happen? Remember 4chan, 8chan, whatever it was, where it was like all these crazy people were coming together and planning these crazy things. Don't you think that Facebook can become a dangerous place if it just
You don't have to allow illegal things. So if somebody's plotting a terrorist attack, right, you can obviously stop that. But if somebody is saying something that you don't like, even if it is foul and rude and ignorant and all that, and racist, by the way, and racist, you still have to allow it on the platform. Because although we as a society don't like it, it is somebody's constitutional right to say it. And I don't agree with it, but the whole beauty of the First Amendment is that you have to allow people to have the First Amendment right, whether you agree with them or not. And it gets tested most when you disagree with the people.
That's fair.
So that's the part I think that ends up getting like sucked up in this, is people confuse what is illegal with what we don't like. And now there's an attack on what we don't like, not on what's illegal.
I agree. I think that, no, I just think that people have, forgotten that, well, I don't know. It's really nuanced.
I agree.
It's really nuanced. Okay, let's move on. Alphabet's Google announced Tuesday that it acquired North, an 8-year-old Amazon-backed company that makes smart glasses. The value of the deal was not disclosed, but the Globe and Mail, which first reported Google's interest, placed the price at around $180 million, which is less than the $200 million the company had raised. So this is very similar to the Google Glass situation that Google had, which didn't quite pan out for them. Why are they doing this again?
If you try this 5 times and one of them works, it'll pay for the 4 times it doesn't work, right? Like, it's such a big opportunity to be the winner of connected hardware over your eyes. And Google also has made a lot of strides around contact lenses for like glucose monitoring and things like that. So at the end of the day, I think it's just the risk reward heavily favors getting in a situation where if you're the person who ends up successfully doing this, even if you tried multiple times and it didn't work and finally it works, it'll pay off in spades. And so it's worth trying every time.
Sorry, I think I disappeared.
You did. All right, you ready? Discord.
Okay, hold on. I don't know why it kicked me off like that. Okay, hold on.
You were lagging.
Oh, I was lagging?
Yeah.
Okay. Discord now has a $3.5 billion valuation and $100 million for a sales pitch lighter on the gaming. I don't know what the hell that means. Hold on a second.
Yeah, they're massive in the gaming industry.
They raised $100 million at a reported valuation of $3.5 billion. That's huge.
Big valuation. I mean, the amount of money raised isn't really that big, given how big they are. But they're definitely huge in gaming and with software engineers. And we know that communication platforms become super valuable. So
can I have a hot take?
Sure.
I think places like, you just want to hear my hot take. I think places like Discord, which yes, it's for gamers, but it's also, they have these communities where you can talk about crazy stuff, unfiltered, uncensored, whatever. I think that this might actually become the place where people go to talk, like places like this versus Facebook, Instagram. All those will super polished, and then you go to something like Discord and you hear the crap that you don't hear on Facebook.
Are you a Discord hater?
No, I'm saying.
Decentralize the world, baby.
3 years ago, the company tried to boot a number of its most racist users, but their ability to use the platform to disseminate hate speech has stubbornly persisted. Interesting. Kind of goes into our last conversation.
Exactly. I don't agree with it. I wish they wouldn't do it, but it's hard to enforce if it's not illegal.
Well, it's also hard to enforce because I don't want Zuckerberg trying to decide what I'm allowed to say and not say. Like, he is not the United States founding father. Although some might think he is. Okay.
Some people may try to take out the founding fathers next too. All right, next topic.
NASA, I heard you. NASA has announced its latest batch of small business grants, providing more than 300 businesses a total of $51 million in early stage funding. The phase 1 projects receive up to $125,000 to help bring new technologies to market. So that's cool. They are grants for small businesses, but I feel like you're gonna have to, like, I told this to my dad, and he was like, yeah, you're gonna probably have to have like where every penny is going to go, like a complete plan before you even apply to this.
Why should the small businesses have to know where every penny went if the government doesn't know where all their money went?
Cha-cha!
Just saying. No, look, this is awesome. Anytime that we can get capital and resources to small businesses and the entrepreneurs, I'm all for it. The fact that it's coming from NASA, cool. But anytime that we can put hands in kind of the problem solvers, or we can put resources in the hands of problem solvers, I tend to think that that's a really, really good strategy.
Can we just agree that NASA's been on a tear recently? First, they had Tom Cruise. Now they have small businesses. Yesterday, they had a moon toilet. Like, what are they doing? They are just trying
to. Old midget ain't going to space. That old midget ain't going to space. Come on. Yes, no, he's not. Watch. All right. We'll see. We'll see.
Wait, when is Jeff Bezos' hearing so I know if I win my bet?
I'm not sure, but we could look it up.
Okay.
He's definitely gonna wear a suit and tie.
We'll see.
All right. What's next?
All right. Okay. This is an absurd story that I'm like fascinated by. This French 23-year-old guy named Alex recently raised $20,000 on Ethereum by tokenizing himself, meaning that his investors can vote on his life choices. What?
He's gonna get in trouble.
Why?
He's selling a security and he keeps trying to argue that it's not a security. And I think that he's going to get in trouble with the federal government.
Whoa, for tokenizing himself?
Tokenizing yourself's fine. You can't sell it for money. It's a security the second you do that, because basically it doesn't, like the Howey test would say, you're giving somebody money and then you're relying on them to do things to create a profit for you to enjoy in the upside.
But how is he going to create a profit?
It's basically the people who bought this thing end up getting a piece of his future earnings.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, but
get in trouble.
He said, I tokenized myself and asked people to vote for my habits to get some attention, as I wanted to do something in a light, funny, and innovative way to raise funds. It's a great way to know your audience, engage them, and trigger the discussion. I know this can't become a billion-dollar company, but it was a fun experience, and my token went up.
Yeah. So like, okay, he's talking about performance. Like you definitely can't do that with a security. You can't issue a security and then talk about the performance. That's why on every finance podcast, they're like, there's all the disclaimers and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I think he's going to get in trouble. By the way, I think that this is cool. I think if people want to go do this, like, sure, they should come up with some way to do it legally. It becomes much more difficult when you get a piece of their upside in terms of their future earnings. The whole thing about like, you can vote on what I do, ain't nobody telling me what to do. So like, I would never do it. But
would you let investors decide what you do?
No.
Would you let me decide?
I would like to say no, but you basically tell me what to do every day. So
except the sunscreen and the haircut. Those are my only two. I don't care about anything else. Okay.
I'm not taking that bait. Men at home, that was bait right there. Sidestepped it. Whoop, didn't even bite. Whatever. Keep going.
Did you do a little shimmy?
19-year-old Polina sitting in her college dorm participating on lunch Monday today. Thanks so much for not going to class and doing this instead.
Did you do a little shimmy?
Nah, I'm not dancing today.
Not today?
Nah, I'll dance another time.
Oh,
Everybody
sad.
wants to see my crip walk. And the lunch money crews never see my crip walk.
Lord have mercy on our
For
souls.
those that don't know, I don't know if we've ever told everyone, but I end every single dance competition on the dance floor with one move. I got a nasty crip walk, and then I pop up and I take my shirt and I put it over the person's head and I walk off. Game over when that happens.
It's great. Really won me right over.
Undefeated on the dance floor. No one's ever beat me. Facts.
Okay.
Facts.
Are you ready for my joke?
Yeah, let's do it. I got 2 minutes and then I got to go do other things. What's up?
This joke will take 3 minutes. So why couldn't...
Just look at the screen for a second. Is that the joke?
Ho, 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 ho. You're not funny. Sorry. Because you're not funny. Okay, try not to laugh at this. Try. See, you already laughed. Okay. Why couldn't the pony sing a lullaby?
Why couldn't the pony sing a lullaby? Because it was hilarious.
No.
Why?
She was a little horse. Like a little horse.
That was pretty good. You didn't have to explain the joke. If you had to explain the joke, it probably wasn't funny, but that one was
little one. I love it. I love it. See, you laughed. You're starting to, soften up a little bit.
The jokes are dumb, but it's fun.
Jokes are great.
It was good. All right, guys, that's it for Lunch Money today. Appreciate you guys watching while Wall Street's trying to get rich. The rest of us trying to get our lunch money right. Hopefully, Polina will, at some point, come back. We may have lost her forever. If so, then I'll be your solo host moving forward. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bang, bang. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Lunch Money as much as we did.
And don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi, so go check them out. There's a link in the description that you can click on. I'm an investor, a user, and a huge fan. What?
You're a bigger fan of BlockFi than you are of me?
BlockFi is my second favorite thing in the world behind Polina. They've got 3 products. They can give you a US dollar loan. You can earn up to 8.6% interest on an interest-bearing account, or you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies on their crypto exchange. I personally use the interest-bearing account. There's not very many places where you'll find up to 8.6% interest on a deposit in an interest-bearing account. Go do your own research. There's risk associated, but 8.6% is pretty compelling. So click on the link in the description. Say thanks to the folks at BlockFi. Subscribe to our channel. Like the video. Annoy Polina in the comments. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
And be kind to your friends.